Welcome to CityWise. I'm your host, Tiana Stevens. CityWise is produced by the City of Rochester to shine a spotlight on city living at its best. Well, Mayor Warren has just announced a new financial assistance program to help qualified residents with roof replacements and repairs in the City of Rochester. And joining us today to tell us more about the city's Owner Occupant roofing program is Deputy Commissioner Kate Washington and Conrad Floss, Associate Community Housing Partner in the city's Neighborhood and Business Development Department. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
When did you first recognize a need for a program like this? How did this come together?
Well, we've actually known that we've had a real high demand for repairs, particularly for owner occupants. As all of you are aware, we probably have had some real challenges in our community economically, and a lot of our residents have really had some difficulty in maintaining the repairs. When we recognized that there was a large number of homes whose roofs were in bad need of repair, we recognized also that being able to repair roofs also is one of those things that has the greatest investment in the longevity of a home. So we want to be able to keep people in their homes, keep those homes maintained, maintain the values of those homes, and we considered being able to invest in roof repair to be one of those vehicles to do so. So we started to target our dollars towards making those roof repairs.
Okay, and how much is being invested into this program?
We went to City Council in December and we had an authorization of $1.8 million. So it sounds like a lot of money, but that'll get us about, we think, 150 roofs. We'll know when the actual costs come in. When we actually go out in the community and start doing these repairs, we'll know what they actually come back at, but we're hoping to get 150.
Okay. What are the specific repairs that are going to be covered by this program?
Well, obviously the roof itself, chimney repair, flashing around some of the valleys and peaks that you find in roofs, soffits, gutters, downspouts. Basically anything attached to the roof and the roof system will be covered under the grant.
And so if you're a homeowner, besides those obvious signs of disrepair in your roof, what are some other more subtle signs that people might not notice that, oh, hey, I might need to get my roof repaired or looked at?
Well, icicles.
So that's
the first
current issue.
I think that what people need to know is that they need to insulate their roofs. You really don't realize what kind of damage that the winter can cause to your roof if you're not insulating properly. So one of the telltale signs is when you start seeing those long, icicles hanging from the soffits. That's just a telltale sign that you don't have enough insulation, and it's going to start eating into your roof, and it's going to cause damage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What are the specific qualifications that a homeowner must meet to be able to pre-apply for this program?
Well, first and foremost, you have to be a resident of the City of Rochester and you have to be a homeowner. The other thing is you have to meet income eligibility requirements, and we do have a scale that is available to any resident who has an interest in really making an application for the repair. We also ask that they are able to, they have to meet various other requirements, including they have to be current on taxes and they have to have no other code violations on their home. So we're looking to make sure that we are administering this program the way we do other repair programs as well. So the income guidelines and all of the qualification requirements are actually available for anybody who's interested, not only on our website but also at their neighborhood service center. We'll provide information on that.
Okay. Now, does the homeowner need to contribute anything financially to qualify?
Yeah, there's a small contribution that we ask based on income. It's either $50 or $250 based on income.
Okay. And there'll be 2 rounds of funding, and so right now the pre-application is open for the first round. Where do people go to apply? Can they apply online?
No, we do ask that people go to their local neighborhood service center and apply there. What they will do is they fill out a very simple, what we call a pre-application. That just asks for some very basic information from them, and it screens for the questions that Kate was just talking about, making sure that asking them, are you current on your taxes and what is your household income and so forth. And if all that comes back positive, they just put their pre-app in the box, and the drawing takes place on the 18th, and we go from there.
Okay. Now, will homeowners be able to make their own repairs, or do they go and hire a contractor? How does that work once the grant is given?
No, actually, the city has contractors that we have available to make the repairs. So we did a bidding process to find contractors who would do all of the roofing for our roof program. So they don't have to be engaged in that. And actually, it's a little bit of a departure from our previous programs, because the previous owner-occupied program has required that the homeowner do a screening of 3 separate contractors, and they had to accept the lowest bid. So it really takes some of the onus and some of the weight of those types of activities and decisions off the homeowner. So all they have to do is make sure that they pre-qualify, put in their application, and if they're selected through the drawing process, then we will find we will have the contractor for them.
Okay, and do you expect work to start this spring when it gets a little bit warmer, or will they wait?
Yeah, I think so. As soon as the drawing happens, we select the names. They will be sent over to Action for a Better Community for processing, and as quickly as property owners can get their documentation in that they need for their application, the faster we can start. Yeah, I'm anticipating as April-ish we should be start swinging hammers.
Okay, now is there a difference between the first round of funding and the second, in terms of if there's anyone that has a higher preference in the second round?
No real preference. Anybody who makes an application in the first round, if they don't get selected, their application is automatically going to go into the next pool of applicants for the second drawing. And the second drawing is a little different because that drawing is going to be a citywide drawing. So it won't be done by quadrant. It'll be done a very large pool of all applicants, and we will draw from that group of applicants.
Do the homeowners need to be present at the drawing on the days that those happen?
No, they don't. They don't have to be there. They'll be notified. Everybody who gets selected will be notified.
Okay, how's it going so far? Have the neighborhood service centers been reporting a large number of applications coming in?
Yeah, it's been pretty positive. We've been hearing some good things.
Right.
So we'll it's a test case for us. We'll see how it goes. We'll evaluate when it's over with, and if it's a good experience, we'll think about replicating it for the future.
So how does the Department of Neighborhood and Business Development go about identifying certain needs, whether it's roofing or anything else in the neighborhoods? Do you hold meetings, or do you kind of just wait for phone calls to come in from residents? How does that process
all of
work?
the above? We have there are so many points of entry to us at the NBD, and one of the things that we did this year was we we did surveys. We actually had we collected information from all the neighborhood service centers, and also just some neighborhood organizations where people were calling and asking for assistance. So we collected lots of data on what the requests were, and we still found that a lot of the requests were for roofing. And we also just had a lot of postcards. I think ABC launched a campaign, and they asked people to send postcards, and so we collected all of that information, and we were able to gain information. But then we also asked questions. We listened to people. People came and spoke with us. I had meetings with people. People came to City Council and spoke. So there was a very diverse range of points of entry for gaining that information for us to really be able to roll out this program.
Okay.
I think to add to that, we've had a lot of pent-up demand for this type of program.
That's true.
A lot of what we've been doing is lead hazard control. We've received quite a bit of funding from the federal government for abate lead-based paint hazards, take care of lead-based paint hazards. So it's been a while since we've had a standard rehab program where we could just go out there and just address one item like roofs. So over the years, there's a big market out there that hasn't been served.
Right. What are some of the other examples of programs, roof, lead abatement, that neighborhood and business development does?
Well, we do emergency repairs as well, and particularly right now at this time of year, we've had such a large snow emergency.
Right.
We've had a lot of demand for furnaces, and people who found themselves in some of these really frigid temperatures without furnaces that were operating, and we were able to come in and be able to assist those homeowners and be able to either replace or repair their furnaces, hot water heaters, and we get a full range of requests in that emergency repair program.
And how do those contacts, those calls come into you? Do they go through 311, or what should someone do if they encounter an emergency like that?
Well, we have a group that we contract with, Action for a Better Community, and they're charged with making sure that the general community is aware of the program. And I think they've been doing a good job because we've been seeing a pretty good wide distribution of applicants coming in from various zip codes across the city. And quite frankly, the demand has just exploded, especially with the heavy winter, with the bad winter. People's furnaces are working harder, they're working longer, and they're breaking down. So yeah, they've been really the front and center group for us to make sure that the word gets out.
How important are those contacts within the community to the work that you do in your office?
Absolutely critical. We at the city, as much as we want to be able to have the full resources to assist every single person, we really rely on all of our community partners, and they range from community organizations to block clubs to businesses. We have, I think, a wide range of partnerships that all work and collaborate with us to help do the work that we do. So, and we're grateful for that.
Wonderful. So if we could just recap finally the dates that the first round, and maybe if we could the second round when that starts for the roofing program.
Well, the first round will conclude on the 17th, drawing on the 18th, and then we start again. I believe they're on the screen for the next dates. Are those coming up? We'll have a spring round, and that will conclude June 19th, I believe. Great. With the drawing.
Wonderful. So and if you've applied the first time and you don't get selected, then again, that'll just roll over into the next drawing. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having
us. Thank you, Tana.
To learn more about the city's owner occupant roofing program, you can always call 311 or 428-6912, and more information is available at cityofrochester.gov/roof relief. CityWise will be right back. Hey kids, are you tired of hearing it's none of your business? Well, this time it is your business. The City of Rochester's Biz Kids Camp teaches you how to start a business and make real money doing something you love. Biz Kids is free to Rochester City youth and runs during school break and summer vacation. Win prizes and earn money while learning time management, sales forecasting, marketing, public speaking, and goal-setting skills. Visit cityofrochester.gov/bizkids or call 428-7371. Well, if you're in need of a change in scenery during this snowy sub-zero winter, look no further than downtown Rochester. Thanks to the vision and talents of Origami, prepare to submerge into the lost world of Atlantis. Balloon Manor is back at the Sibley Building for a second year. And Origami founder Larry Moss and artistic director Kelly Cheadle are here today with all the details. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks
you guys have been busy for the past 4 days, building. Origami is such a fun word. What does that mean, and how did this come to be?
Well, I started as a street magician in New York City in Central Park, and as I built and tried drawing larger audiences, I realized I needed something gimmicky that could be seen at a distance, and balloons were seen a lot further than the close-up magic I was doing, so the balloons were really just something I used to attract a crowd. And eventually I realized that if the balloons were attracting the crowd, there was really no need for me to do the magic at all. I could just fall back on the balloons. And I just had so much fun playing with them that I used them in storytelling, and I would build costumes out of them and scenery, and eventually, grew to the point that I kind of dropped the performance side of it and focused on the visual art.
And Kelly, you have a background in design and bring some other qualities to the table. When did you get involved with Origami?
It was during Balloon Manor, the original incarnation of Balloon Manor a few years ago. I found out that there was a giant community art project in my backyard, made with thousands upon thousands of balloons, and I just had to be involved. I did notice that his posters needed some help, so I sent him an email and I said, "You need my help. I'm going to help you." And that one email changed the course of my entire life.
So what was the first big project that you worked on?
Balloon Manor.
Okay.
It was Elastic Park?
Yeah, I think it was Elastic Park.
Okay.
It's the very first thing I made. Most people start off with little tiny dogs.
Right.
I made a skeleton. So it's like, sure, I can make a skeleton. Why not?
Wow. And since it's the second year you're back at the Sibley Building, why the Sibley Building? Why was that important?
Well, I fell in love with the building when I first walked into it like 25 years ago. I just thought it was a great place, and it hasn't been used for a lot for a number of years. And when the wind companies bought it, and new owner, I said, let's approach them and see if they'd be willing to let us play and work with us. And they're interested in doing that, and and we have a studio downtown, so we're interested in the effort to bring more people downtown. They wanted to revitalize a building downtown, so it was just a great partnership, and the space is phenomenal.
It's really gorgeous.
And last year's exhibit took us up 5 stories with Jack and the Beanstalk, and this year's is a little bit different, kind of we're going down under the sea. Tell us what people can expect for this year's display.
Well, they'll be able to see, probably when they first walk in, they'll be greeted by a giant octopus if they park in the nearby convenient garage. And they'll notice that the octopus is actually pulling down a giant pirate ship. So as you sort of travel up the escalators and around the building, you'll see everything from rats abandoning a sinking ship to mermaids and tons of sea creatures and a sort of undersea world of Atlantis. So tons of stuff for you to just wander around and look at. People have spent like half the day last year just looking at all the details that were around. Right,
and the building is also a community activity. People come out to see progress and check in kind of every day. How has that been going so far?
Well, the people building, we have 65 artists from around the world. The one that came furthest this year was from Australia. And these are all artists that just want, some of them have a lot of experience with balloons, some have experience in other forms of art like Kelly did when she started. And then there are others that have never played with balloons before that just are fascinated by the idea. And some of them local that have signed up and joined, and then the community from outside that aren't building with us. More and more people come, and there have been a few people that have come by every day to see the change, and some have asked if they can be on the list to join us next year to help. So we're seeing a lot of repeat people. We're seeing people that have been coming that came last year that said, I couldn't wait to see this, or I saw it when it was finished last year. I wanted to see the process now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely drawing a lot of interest.
Now, how much planning goes into a Balloon Manor? You're done with one, and then you start the next year's?
Yeah, they're probably 6 months worth of engineering and planning and spreadsheets and all sorts of drawings that go into a single event like this.
And there's some technical aspects involved as well, as far as whatever space you're in and wiring.
So Richard Hewson does all of the rigging and all of the technical stuff for us. The first time I had asked him to help with a project, I just knew, he's been a friend for years, and I knew that his expertise would come in handy. And I remember him looking at me and saying, but what am I going to do? I don't really do anything with balloons, so don't worry, we'll keep you busy. And he is probably the busiest person on the crew, between being the only rigger there and being the guy that repairs equipment when it breaks, and in some cases helps design new equipment when we don't have something that does quite what we need. So yeah, it's all the public sees are balloons, but there's a whole lot behind the scenes that you just don't think about.
What are some of the other balloon manors that of years past that you've done?
Well, last year we did, the very tall tale of Jack and his Beanstalk, and that was a sort of new iteration of Balloon Manor, because previously it had been a very large-scale haunted house.
Right, so the haunted house was 10 rooms, you walked through, it was a tour, and one of the things that changed in the years when we switched from the haunted house to this style of static sculpture was that people didn't like waiting in lines. We would attract 10,000 people to see it, and they had to stand in line waiting for a turn to go through, whereas now you can walk up to it, see the whole thing, take it in, travel around it at your own pace. What else? We had one year, when it was a haunted house, it was dinosaur themed, it was Elastic Park. What else did we have? We had Ghoul School, where we trained the monsters for the upcoming year.
There was always a little story that went through each of them, and I think that piece has continued.
Yeah, the story is important to us. We spend
a lot of time. How do you come up with those ideas?
Well, this year, remember last year in the middle of it, somebody walked up to me with a TV camera and said, so what are you going to do next year? And I said, I don't know, maybe Under the Sea.
And I heard that and went, oh, yes, that's what we're doing.
And then, so following the popping party for last year, you probably started right on that. And so take us through some of the events that happened with Balloon Manor. There's the build, and then there's something new this year that happened to time out just right for you guys.
So this year is the year that, for those of you that remember Back to the Future, Marty McFly travels into the future and lands in 2015. But in the original movie, he travels back to 1955, and his parents fall in love at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. And I've always kind of wanted to throw an Enchantment Under the Sea party this year, just to celebrate, and it just so happened that we had this giant undersea themed sculpture, and we thought this would be such a fun idea to throw a party, invite the community in, and just have like an old school prom, and we're gonna have, you know, people from the Rochester Swing Dance Network come and dance. We're gonna have a live band. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we don't have a time machine, but we do have.
We almost had a DeLorean, though.
Yeah. Wow. So if anybody wants to show up with a DeLorean, that would
with
be cool.
the salt and the snow, we didn't really want to risk it.
Might not. So there, at the end, because Balloon Manor obviously doesn't last forever, you kind of invite the whole community to come in and help you take it down. How does that work?
Well, for starters, I've got to say, in my mind, it does last forever, because what we're creating is memories for people. That, to me, is the most important part about art, that I think people should see it and take something with them and remember it. But the actual medium that it's created with is temporary, so we celebrate that and make it a giant popping party. Everybody can come, get turns popping.
If you like bubble wrap, this is like
way better.
Way better.
Right.
And we have prizes or coupons for prizes tucked inside a lot of balloons. What do we have? We up to close to 100.
Yeah, we've got a lot of coupons in there.
So you get you go in, you get 2 minutes or whatever the timing. I don't even.
We'll have to figure out how many people show up, and then that determines how much time you get.
Right.
And then local community businesses are helping us out. Is this sort of project takes more than just two people and an idea.
Right. So the events are free except for the popping party. Is that right? People can come in through March 8th. Check out the sculptures. Is it better to start from the bottom and work your way up, or do you think for this one you started up top and worked your way down the escalators?
There's stuff to see on every floor. Even music that can be found if you're looking for it.
I think it's interesting because last year, we had a classic fairy tale that already had a story and that had a definite linear time.
Sure.
But this year, we didn't have a story that we were really going from. We kind of created the story. So depending on how you walk in, you may experience a different story just because of where you started.
I'd actually be interested in hearing what people think, what story they see and read into all of it. We actually have something that we've been discussing for months, that this is what happened, this is how we got to this point in the story, this is what happens next. But yeah, since it isn't a traditional story that everybody knows, it will be interesting to hear what they tell us they're seeing in it.
Right. Do you have a favorite part of the sculpture, Kelly?
It's always, my favorite part of the sculpture, I guess, is the fact that the sculpture started off as like a line drawing and then was divided out into separate pieces and handed out to 60 people to put together. And like suddenly there's this ship that was just a thought in our minds, and it's now, I don't want to say concrete because they're latex balloons, but it's now this physical object. So that's fantastic. But it's always the little tiny details that the crew members bring to the table, because we have the grand scheme and they add suggestions for small elements, and so someone's added little rats that are escaping the sinking ship, and when you stop by the sculpture, you have to check them out because they're just adorable.
Those are probably the only kind of rats I would.
They're actually cute
call
rats.
Adorable.
Yes.
Larry, do you have a favorite part?
Well, same thing. I love seeing what the artists put in that. They'll often slide things in there and try to hide them from us until the last minute. It started with one member of the crew, Todd, would always stick a red balloon dog someplace, and it wasn't supposed to be obvious until you saw it, and then you couldn't ignore it.
Where's Waldo?
But now it's grown that these are more elaborate pieces and actually story elements rather than just an object.
Okay. Has there ever been an idea that presented a specific challenge for you, or anything that you couldn't create? It seems kind of the possibilities are endless.
There was, for years, I had wanted to do Botticelli's Birth of Venus, and I had spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make it, and we did eventually do it. And that was in a gallery for a while, and we made a print of that because it was just, well, it fit in with the whole series of print work that we've done. But that, for a long time, getting the very smooth skin and all of the curves of Venus, and capturing that when you're working with a medium that's very bubbly, and it was, but we solved that one, so I don't think there's anything we can't do.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We're out of time, but be sure to check out Balloon Manor, the amazing air-filled undersea adventure. It runs through March 8th at the Sibley Building. Visit balloonmanor.com for more details. Thanks for joining us on CityWise.